Hello, it's Amy from Softwind Crafting here in my little craft studio, and coming on Monday, January 4th, it'll be 5th. It'll be back to school for me today. So I'm actually recording this earlier to get it out ahead of time, have it ready to go on Monday, my usual posting day. Just letting you know that on Tuesday, starting I guess at midnight Mountain Time, the new catalog will be going live. And so there's lots of new things out there. The suite that I'm using today, the fragrant Layers suite, online exclusive, will be going out on Tuesday as well. Be available for purchase if you're not a demonstrator. Also, kind of exciting thing that's happening, if I've actually put off my order that I was going to do at the beginning of this year from the new catalog. I put it off because I found out bonus days are starting on Tuesday. And for bonus days, for every $50 that you spend, you get a $5 coupon to redeem in February. So you purchase any $50 you purchase in the month of January, you get that $5 coupon, you redeem it, and it goes up to whatever amount you want to spend. It's just for every $50. Got to save those coupons so that you can redeem them. Just don't lose when you get the codes. Don't lose them. Well, today I wanted to show you a card using, again, the Fragrant Layers bundle. So we're going to use the stamps, and we're going to use the dies that come along with this bundle. And I already kind of pre-cut everything, but I wanted to show you what I used. I used this particular die to cut out the flowers that we're going to use in the center. I cut out these flowers, so to put as center points for these flowers. And I cut out all 3 leaves. And I will get you shown. And for the stamps, we're going to use the flower stamp here and the It's Your Day. And I figure it's your day. It works for a lot of things. It can be for a birthday. It can be congratulations. It can be something about wishing good luck. You can use it for a lot of different things. So those are what I'm going to use. And like I said, I kind of die cut everything I wanted to use today just to kind of make things go a little faster. All right, so let me put that aside. So I'm going to show you, this is the card that we're going to make. I really liked it. I used the catalog page, in the annual catalog, I used page 58 as my inspiration. It's not quite the same, but I liked the idea of the triangles. My friend Andy and I got together this weekend, and we made a card that involved triangles. And have never really used triangles in my case. I decided to try it again, one more time on your own. But this card, not only is it using the Fragrant Layer bundle, it's also using the True Blue Florals, which was the bonus that you could get in Stampin' Up! If you spent $75 in December. There's going to be a new one that starts January 6th. For every $75, you can buy their special thing for $5. Don't know what it is yet. We won't know until January 6th. There's not really a preview for it. And whatever it is, you can only purchase one. But anyway, I got the True Blue Florals last month and really started using them. So the card's really, really pretty paper using Balmy Blue and Night of Navy. Right? So let's go ahead and make our card. Let me put this aside. All right. So here are the pieces that we're going to use for the card. We have our card base in Balmy Blue, and it's 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4. Okay. So for the insert for the inside of the card, we have a regular insert size of 5 1/4 by 4 out of basic white. I cut a piece of basic white at 4.5 by 3.25. And I'm using this as a base. I could have just done my DSP this way and cut it, but I wanted to be able to put it up on dimensionals, and so I felt like it kind of needed a little base to kind of hold it together. So when I cut these two pieces of paper, cut it at the same size as this basic white at 4.5 by 3.25. And so it was a whole piece. And what I did is I just put it in my cutter, and I put the upper corner in the grooves of the trimmer back and just kind of cut it down, and then did the same with this piece. So it's the same size. I cut out a piece of the DSP by 4.5 and 3.25, and then just cut it from corner to corner in my trimmer. So that's what I get with here. We have some scrap white to use to make our sentiment. Well, greeting, really, because it's on the outside of the card. I cut out the flowers out of balmy blue. You can use whatever colors you want. And by the way, in making this card, you don't have to use these true blue florals. You can use whatever colors you want, whatever DSP you want. That's the beauty of using these card layouts. Okay, so this one is base is balmy blue. I cut out those little floral pieces, okay, out of Night of Navy. We're going to use these as our flower center points. I have the leaves. I cut them out of basic white. I thought it matched the paper real well with using these white trimmed flowers. That was my reasoning. And those are all the separate pieces we did. All right, so let's go ahead and get stamping, or making the card anyway. So let me go ahead and start by burnishing my card. So I'll just fold it over. I always like to make sure it's lined up, because I just want it, because I always somehow manage to get things askew when I start folding. Okay, so I'm just going to give that a really good burnish. Okay, and put that aside. All right, so now I'm going to take my glue, and now I'm just going to adhere this to the cardstock. So remember, you don't have to use a lot of glue. This multi-purpose glue is very strong. You do want to make sure you get kind of into the tip of the triangle a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're just going to line it up with the cardstock. Okay. So using that green glue allows you to move your cardstock a little bit to get it in place. Okay. And now we're going to do the other piece. And of course you can use whatever sides you want on the True Blue Floral. You can use whatever DSP you want. Okay. And then I'm just going to kind of slide that up in there, trying to match it up to the cardstock again. But most importantly, to make sure that it's lines up with the center of that card. Okay, so there we go. All right, so now what I want to do is start by you putting some dimensionals. First I want to glue these little center points to the flower. And these have a lot, if you can see them, they have a lot of little dots. Okay, so it's easy to get too much glue. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue, trying to keep it light. Remember, we're don't want to go crazy with the glue. It is strong, but we don't want it seeping everywhere either. Okay, so whoops. And now I'm just going to find, and you can see how it already starts smearing. Okay. Then I'm going to get glue all over my fingers because it seeps through the little holes. There we go. I just love that Night of Navy. All right, so now I'm going to add some dimensionals to the backs of my flowers. I just want to be able to hold it up. Okay, so I want some dimensionals. Let's see, let me cut this one in half so I can stick it here, give it a little bit more of a base, and then the same thing on this side, the other half. You can add a little more if you wanted. Let me cut off some pieces and we'll do that just to make it a little bit more firm. I think that'll be good. Get off these backings. I like using my take your pick tool, although I'm making a huge mess right now with it. Usually it's not so bad. It helps me kind of pick them up and keep them from getting all over the place like that. But you see today, because I'm doing it on camera, it doesn't want to cooperate. Okay, so let me get those away. All right, so now you're going to go ahead and turn around this way. And now we're ready to add our leaves. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a little bit of glue here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add this one down here. Okay. Do the same with our smaller leaves. And then just kind of like tuck. I'm trying to tuck it to where it's tucked under the other flower as well. It's just, there we go. And then our last one. Almost put the glue on the front. There is a front and a back to these dies. You can kind of tell very easily when you're looking at them. Okay, we're going to add that there. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and add this to our card front. And what I'm going to do is I'm kind of line it up with this corner, so there's going to end up being some like white space over here. Okay, dead space, white space, whatever you want to call it. Okay, trying to make sure it doesn't look very straight. Okay, this is why I like my grid on my glass mat. It helps me line things up a little better. Okay, there we go. So we have that done. Now we're ready to stamp our sentiment and the inside of our card. All right, so I'm getting Night of Navy, and what I want to do is I have this is just like a leftover piece of like when you trim your cardstock down. This is just a piece of the basic white. It's about 1/2 inch. So I'm taking my It's Your Day stamp, just tap, tap, tap. And then I'm just going to come over. Sorry if my head gets in the way. I'm trying to leave room on the end so I have room to trim it down to make it a banner. Okay, so there we go. Let's hold it, make sure the ink transfers. There you go. All right. While the ink is still out, I'm going to grab my insert and I'm going to go ahead and stamp my flowers. So, and I'm stamping off because I like that look. Okay, plus these are pretty big flowers. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this one more center. And then I'm going to do 2, there at the corner. Okay, let me clean that up so I don't get ink on other things as I'm working. Okay. Close that up because I have a nasty way of sticking my hand or other things into my ink pads when I don't want to. All right, so I'm going to go, before I deal with the banner, let's go ahead and glue the insert into the card. So just adding a bit of glue to the edges. Remember not to put your glue too close to the edge because it could smear out when you're trying to put it down. Okay, so I'm lining this up, centering it from side to side and top to bottom. And try not to let it it's not centered at all. So, oh, and I just tore my paper. Oh well, we'll just make it work. My dog is on the move. She's on the move and here rattling around. All right, so now we're ready to trim down the banner. All right, so I'm going to just trim down, I guess let's trim it down to about 1/2 inch. Make sure this is about 1/2 inch as well. Okay, so what I like to do is just come in. I use my scissors as my guide about where it starts decreasing. So go in the center, and then you're just going to angle up to that line you cut. And let's do it now to the other side. Okay, so again, I use my scissors as a guide to where it's a little bit starts angling up. So I get it about the same distance in, at least that's the hope. Okay, and then same thing, other side. Huh. Whoops, sorry about that. Well, it's not quite meeting. There we go. I didn't quite cut to the point. So there we go. So now we have our banner. It's ready to go on. I'm going to use some dimensionals, but I'm only going to use a dimensional on this side because I'm going to have it lay on top of this, and this is already poofed up a lot, so I don't want to go poof it up so it's like a little bit going up on more on one side. So again, the dimensional is going to go on this side. And I'm going to use a little bit of glue on the other so it adheres. It's not be moving around and floating in space. Okay, and so make sure it's straight. Because for some reason I am just, everything I do ends up again at a skew, I guess would be the word to use it. All right, so there's that. And so what we're going to do is I have some old dimensionals from a couple of Christmases ago, but it has these pretty blue pieces, so we're going to use those. And I am going to, let's use the putty end. That would probably be easier. Okay, so I'm going to grab a big one. The putty doesn't want to move with the putty. There we go. Okay, I'm going to add a big one up here, and then I'm going to add 2 smaller ones over here. There we go. All right, so here's our card that we made using the page 58 as inspiration in the annual catalog. Is it 58? Am I giving you the right page number? It is. And I just want to remind you, if anyone is interested, if you purchase from my online store between now and January 15th, and remember, go on starting on the 6th, because then you get those bonus day coupons as well, and a chance for the whatever the magic sale price is for purchasing at 75 and above, that will be available. Anyway, if you purchase from me between now and January 15th, I will send you kits to make 2 of each of these 2 cards using the Fragrant Bundles dies. The stamping you'll have to do on your own, but you use whatever stamps that you have, or you can just leave them off and just have the flowers. It would still make a great card that you could write, or you could write your greeting yourself, especially if you have nice handwriting. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know that. And again, if I would appreciate if you would subscribe to my channel, like and share this video. It would really help me out. I would really, really appreciate it. And I really thank you for being with me here today, this afternoon, and I will see you on Friday. Thank you.